There's been a drop in people applying to send their children to private schools, a drop by 2%, 2.7%, according to the Independent Schools Council, the ISC, and this council represents 1,400 private schools. Now, there's a difference, of course, between private schools and public schools. A public school is part of that small body of private schools that have been going for a long time, and the private schools, ordinary independent schools, are those schools that charge money routinely for education. Some people have got the idea that, or some schools have got the idea that they can charge fees in advance to avoid getting falling into the trap of the 20% VAT, which Labour will bring in. Some financial advisors have suggested that this would be a false economy because Labour can retroactively apply VAT on the basis that the money charged in advance is simply being kept on hold and the fees don't become due until the term in question. So VAT would be then applied, so people would then find themselves with a second bill. There are a number of people now looking at private education, boarding education abroad, particularly in India, and to go to those schools which oddly were set up as branches of the bigger school in the UK, like Epsom, like Harrow, and so on. And so they have actually received applications from parents in the UK. And the Keir Starmer says, well, he's not actually attacking private schools. He simply wants to make state schools better. But you don't do that. You don't make something better by attacking something else. And he's wrong. He may think ideologically private schools are a bad idea. That's reasonable. And simply because somebody is paying money for a private education doesn't mean to say that it's going to be any better than the education available in the local state school. And I've taught in many schools, many private schools as well as state schools, where the education on offer was beneath par. So simply paying for the education doesn't guarantee your son or your daughter great exam results, nor indeed does it help with university entrance. Indeed, many of the bigger universities and the better universities, like Oxford and Cambridge, actively discriminate against students who have come up through the private school system. And to get around that, some parents have taken their children out of private education and put them back into state education for sixth forms. There are some excellent state sixth form schools, which, if you want a good exam result and if you want better chances in university, do a better job than many second-rate private schools. The private schools offer they can offer an opportunity to for targeted education, but not always. Tutorial colleges are another way forward. I don't know how their VAT is going to be affected. I suspect the prices for tutorial colleges will also go up. I suspect the prices for tutoring will go up. And a lot of parents supplement the education that children receive at a state school by sending them to tutors to develop the skills which aren't being targeted at state schools. So if you close down a lot of the private education, which will be the natural result of applying VAT and increasing the fees, then do you automatically improve state education? The answer is no. What you automatically do is increase the number of students who are attending state education and put a greater strain on state education, number one. And number two, the academic problems still exist, and the problems with classroom management still exist. We need a different way of approaching education, and it's only by doing that that we're going to solve the problem of giving children the opportunity of an education which is directly valuable in the modern world. And one way forward is to stop imposing organizations like Ofcom that are going to rank schools. There's no point in ranking a state school because it's the only school available to you. State schools are determined by area. I think we should be encouraging selection. I think the grammar school system was an excellent system, and those areas that still retain grammar schools are very lucky indeed. The grammar school provides, in many ways, a much better academic education than the private systems have ever provided. However, it's not available to everyone. And the first thing we have to do is start trusting the teachers and start trusting the school administration. Once we do that, and once we recognize that Ofcom is a supporting system and a guidance rather than some sort of threat, and that Ofcom's advice is private rather than public, then we have a way forward. After that, I think we need to seriously examine the methodology for teachers. So seriously examine the way teachers are trained and pull back a lot of this bureaucracy, because teachers spend most of their time, I would say a good 70% of a teacher's time is spent messing around with needless bureaucracy. A lot of that can be handed on to other people, and so the teachers can be there to teach and to be trusted to teach. Trust is the thing that needs to be introduced into the school system, not VAT particularly. It's trust. And trust has been eroded throughout the system in the UK, both in the state system and in the private system.